So it's no secret that I'm anti-imperialist, completely anti-imperialist. Believe that the FMLN were correct in what they did in fighting the El Salvadorian government, that the Cristeros were correct, that the Mexican Constitution is oppressive to its own people and evil, that the provisional IRA was correct in what it's doing, and the new IRA is correct in what it's doing. And then actually I side with, it's strange, but for reasons, one faction of the Contras and support the other portions of the Sandinistas in fighting against because the Contras were a conglomerate of groups that just got under the umbrella Contra. But basically the American-backed Contras for the Sandinistas fighting them. But the Shining Path is evil, and was evil, and it was right for Fujimori to stamp out the Shining Path. Shining Path would go in and kill people, pretty much the same fashion the El Salvadorian government did. And I've spoken about the School of the Americas and stuff like that, but I have to say, even though, 12 years ago I was a card-carrying communist, the Communist Manifesto is the most perverted, evil thing on the face of the earth. And you cannot claim to be a member of a culture or a religion or have any morality or be a person who loves their family and believe in the Communist Manifesto or claim to be a communist. Now, I know groups like the FMLN, the Sandinistas, used the moniker communism, and they had, Lenin and Marx and stuff as, figureheads, but they were Catholic and they were fighting a nationalist cause. Even the Viet Minh, the Viet Cong, were not true communists. Because what does communism call for? The destruction of the family, the destruction of all eternal truth, the destruction of all culture, all religion, all morality. Not only the destruction, not just the against being the privatization of the means of production, but against all private property, all free speech, no free speech. No, I one time was arguing against somebody who claimed to be an Eastern Orthodox Christian who was for the Communist Manifesto, and I'd quote huge chunks of the Communist Manifesto, and they'd say, that's not what that means, even though saying that all eternal truths must be destroyed, and orthodoxy defines God as the eternal truth, and Christ is that. But a mother would not have the right to their own children, right? You have any existing culture, it must be destroyed. And the thing is that the communism is the most imperialist thing, right? Communism, in trying to gain power, it will use these slogans, right? Such as they're against slavery, they are for free speech, they're for the people, they're for the immigrant, they're, all these things. But in reality, one of Marx's goals at how to implement communism at the end of the manifesto is expulsion of all immigrants, destruction of all culture, especially the native culture, absolute destruction of it, destruction of all religion, no free speech, destruction of all morality, philosophies, religion. That's all bourgeois and decadent. And the enslavement of the worker. The claim that communism hasn't been practiced in reality, well, it's been tried, but it's so anti-human. So even a state like North Korea, it had to, in order for it to function, it had to not be totally communist. Even though it's extremely brutal, it had to allow for certain things, right? Just like the Soviet Union had to. because who's going to raise the children? Because parents aren't allowed to raise the children. And it's not just the means of production, it's all private property. If you want to see true communism, it's 1984 is the closest thing. But then just look at the North Korean regime, which I actually had somebody tell me who claimed to be an Eastern Orthodox Christian, that North Korea was freer than the United States and all Western countries. And when I asked them, the church that I live down the street from that deals with the Korean refugees, it's the Korean Alliance Church. So those people are lying. And he said, some of them, yeah. This is delusional. In order to be a communist, or even call yourself a communist, you either have to be grossly misinformed, a liar, or evil. Most likely all three. There's that no true Scotsman fallacy. Well, that's not the no true Scotsman fallacy. Look at what the Communist Manifesto asserts, and Marx got his history entirely wrong. The bane of the left is communism. Communism is anti-worker. It's for a very few to have every bit of power, and the vast majority to be absolute slaves, body, mind, and soul. So Marx's implementation of communism would be to expel all immigrants, to have no free press, no an increasing tax, no the means of production be turned over to quote-unquote the people. But again, communism is international socialism, which means it must take over every pit of the earth. It is the most imperialistic it's far more imperialistic than something like Nazism. And why was I for the Viet Cong, the FMLN, the Sandinistas, the IRA? They were nationalist. They are nationalist causes. They were against the imperialists, right? The Shining Path were going around to villages and just murdering people, just murdering them. And finally, Fujimori's government started giving women rifles to fight off when the Shining Path would come. Because the Shining Path was acted in the same manner as the El Salvadorian government in the 1980s. I just find it appalling. So I just want to make that clear, is that, yeah, while I'm on the people's side, I'm for the worker, but communism is not. Even if certain gains are made in the name of communism, liberation theology is not mixing Marxism with communism, or Marxism with Catholicism. It's just Roman Catholicism. That's all it is. And I wholeheartedly, I'm not a Roman Catholic, but I can't see much wrong with liberation theology. Black liberation theology is evil, and it's actually not liberation theology. Peace to you.